Hello, hello. How are we?
Yep, we are
Yeah,
good.
good chat.
Oh, yeah. How you going?
Just leave you hanging there. What's happening?
Yeah, not too much. Thanks for having me on. So I think I've got a bit of a lag on my end. That's the reason why I was a bit stone-faced for a second there. But yeah, going well. Keen for another round of footy.
As am I, and as the people can see from the screen, no trades this week, mate.
That's it. It's the first time we're saving trades this week. I feel like I've seen a few people say it as well, but there's no standout buys this week who like absolute must-haves. So I feel like I'm happy enough with my 17, so I'm just going to roll with that and yeah, try consolidate because for whatever reason my trades have not been working. So let's not trade. See if that works. Change the strategy.
I do like that with the fact that like nothing's working, so let's just not trade at all. We're bringing in Matto, we're bringing in Butcher, and we're trading at Coates and Arrow. Coates has been a fun ride, made us 250k or something like that, but Origin and whatnot. I was ragging Madison on the podcast, and then I think it was you that brought to my attention like he actually isn't going to lose that much value, and we aren't paying like that much in overs for him. Like we're paying at a 65 average, we're paying maybe 60k. So it's not like we're paying sky high price like as it is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think, yeah, if you look at his numbers, even coming off the bench, his base numbers have been very solid. You'd think starting it's only going to be if like the same, if not better. And so I feel like it's low risk. He's a gun as well, and he looks really on form. And the Eels do have a nice draw, so I feel like there's not that many cons against him, apart from maybe not playing the bye week. But he's got enough upside to maybe counter that.
Yeah, fingers crossed. What's happened? Let me pull up all the late mail, and then we can try and I guess give the guys a little bit of knowledge as to what's happened because a fair bit has happened today. So Adokar out, as you guys know. That means Max King is actually going to be starting in the back row, on the back row at 13. Karaz is going to come in. Raymond Faitala-Marin is on the bench as well. So yeah, Max King starting, Adokar out, Karaz in. So Karaz now playing his second game. Hopefully he gets in like soon with the changes happening at the club and obviously the developmental players being allowed to play. Yeah, obviously bottom dollar price. Really impressed with what we saw from him in the first week. Obviously a guy that we have to target. Brett Naden looks to be playing in the centres for the Tigers. Looks like some reshuffling will happen. Peachy will drop to the bench. Satili Tupanua is out for the Chookies. That sees potentially Nat Butcher move to the edge with TKO going to 13. Like that's not confirmed, but it's just been confirmed that Satili is out. Hashtag boost for Elliott. He is back, but he's playing lock. And that means Wolford keeps his spot at 9, Starling off the bench. Weird rotation. Savage drops out for the man, and CHN also drops out to the bench as well. Jordan Rapin and goal kicking, and Brian Kelly will be in for Isan Masters. That's kind of what's dropped today, but yeah, I think the big news there, I guess, to Teely, probably the most SuperCoach relevant option there, not playing, and then what ripple effect does that have for Butcher?
Yeah, I think so. And you'd expect maybe Butcher then goes into an 80-minute role on the edge just in replacement of Tupanua. So that's good for attacking stats, not so good for base stats. So you might see a little bit less output potentially. It's a tough team that they're versing. So I wouldn't say that would put me off buying. If anything, it could be a plus. But, if you're looking to buy Butcher this week, I think it's still all systems go ahead. I'm personally waiting a week to see if I can see what the minutes rotations are like. And it's a tough matchup. So hopefully we don't get punished too much by that.
Sorry, Gagai back in. There's a little bit of game day mail for this game as well. So that will see Gagai back in for the centres with Sagasi to 18th man and Tuala out. Adam Reynolds is out with Ezra Mann playing half and Jordan Pereira at 18th man. So we finally get to see Ezra Mann play first grade. A lot of people are hyped. I know the SuperCoach Twitter is blowing up over the debut of Ezra Mann, and hopefully he's everything that people hoped him would be.
Yeah, I've not seen him play in all honesty, but I've heard a lot of good things about him. So yeah, definitely keen to see how he shows up today. Whether or not he can force his way into the starting 17 remains to be seen.
What are you doing with armbands this week before we get straight into questions?
So yeah, at the moment I've got the armband on Hines. Sunday against the Titans, I feel like I'm kind of just playing the matchup and some stats in terms of the Titans. They do concede quite a few points to the right side half, so I figure that's going to be Nico back at halfback. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the Sharks don't turn in another subpar performance. Vice captain at the moment is on Nathan Cleary. Could switch to Munster, but yeah, I think captaincy I'm still stuck on Hines. Otherwise, I might maybe change to Cleary if I want to go a bit safer. Depends how the round's going. So I'll give it a day or two and figure that out. But yeah, I think Hines will probably be my captain this week.
I am not too sure. Like, I've got Munster, I've got Hines, I've got Cleary, and it's got to fit two of those in. At the moment, I've got it on Hines and Munster, but not sure. If Hughes is out, like if Hughes is a late day out, I'll just move things around and get the VC on Cleary and the C on Hines, but we'll go from there. Bit of panic over Satili. I think he's only out for a week, so if you owned, I would probably just hold.
Yeah, I think so. It depends how much depth you have as well. If you're really relying on him playing, you could maybe just make a downgrade to Butcher. That will free up some funds for you, still getting that Roosters player. Or maybe he's a make way for like a Matto or a Kikau, which I don't mind either because I think they're also good options. It's a bit awkward with Stilia because he does cover round 13. But I think, if you can hold him, that would be fine as well.
The chat is blowing up about Manu, and I'm not really keen on buying him this week. Like, I know that the narrative is like he performs better against weaker sides, but I'd rather just pay the money and get Garrick if like we're bringing him in. I'm not too sure if I'm keen on bringing in Manu. I know you're a Roosters fan. The next 2 weeks suck. Like, you've got 2 gross matchups, round 13 against the Raiders, and then I think some pretty gross matchups after that as well. The risk of Teddy being rested over Origin, like maybe we see Manu at fullback for more than just the one game. Like, where are you sitting on him?
Yeah, look, I think I think we all kind of know now at this point that the Roosters draw is quite disgusting until about round 17. It's quite a tough run. I think there are some benefits to Manu that I see him as one of the best options from the Roosters who can perform in those big games. Maybe him and Tedesco. I feel like they're the most matchup proof of the lot. And so this week I'd be willing to swerve because it is the Panthers. He's got a break even around the 40s, and he has dropped a few sub 30 games so far this year. So you might be able to get him a little bit cheaper. I don't mind the Sharks because they've shown the last couple of weeks they can actually concede points. Raiders in round 13 is good when he should be playing at fullback. Now, the thing was, in round 14, when he's versing the Storm, there still could be a benefit in that, they may rest the likes of Munster, Grant just after Origin. I can't quite remember what day that game's actually on, but if, say, for example, the Storm were slightly weaker and maybe Teddy gets a rest, you've got another game at fullback for Manu. Then it's the Eels who do concede points. Panthers, again, yes, it's tough, but I do think that there is some merit to still want to go for him. This week, I agree, I wouldn't be looking for him this week, but I feel like even next week could be a good entry point. If not, otherwise, round 13, I do like him as an option in that week.
Yeah, I would be looking at maybe just bringing him in at 13. Some whispers going around that Kelma Tuolagi is going to get a spot back in the Tigers starting 13. Looks like Luciano may not be 100% fit, so that's something to note there if you weren't looking to trade him out. A couple of questions re Lolo last week. I honestly just think he was being rested for the next 2 games coming up. I think he's a pretty safe play. I wouldn't be looking to sell, and I'm happy to have him start in my side.
Yeah, I think so. It seemed like, look, the game was comfortable, so why not rest your star man ready for the next fortnight, and knowing that in that Origin round 13, he may lose some forwards, so he's going to probably have to play decent minutes then. So maybe just a bit of a protection going on there for Lolo.
Yeah, especially if Cotter's out, it sort of, I wouldn't say it changed everything, but I guess it just puts the burden back on Lolo, which is great for owners. I'm just trying to pull up the trends of trading in and out, see if anything has changed from the weeks gone. The days gone by. The only thing is Wolford sort of moved up a little bit in stock. I am not really keen on Wolf. I'm seeing a lot of people bring him in. I feel like if you need to find the funds, Peoples is just a much better option with a safer security.
Yeah, I'm not really sold yet on Wolford either. I'm definitely not looking to buy him this week, that's for sure. I think given that Elliott's now back in the third in the starting 17, there's always that question mark. So I definitely would at least want to wait a week, and then next week we'll hopefully reassess at that point. Otherwise, yeah, Peoples even could be probably a better cheapy next week, but I'm deferring that for next week's decision. I wouldn't be getting either Peoples or Wolford this week, in my opinion.
Before we get straight into the questions, is there a number in your head that you're looking at for the buys?
Yeah, so I need to actually look at my team and see what I'm on. I think I'm sitting around 9 or 10 at the moment. I feel like I'm going to be okay with like 10 to 12, maybe 12 players for round 13 if I can get there. Just because I'm low on trades at the moment, I'm on 21. So I can prioritize maybe round 17 and hopefully bring in guys in round 17. I don't have to trade them back out. You can keep them for the run home. As opposed to say round 13, we might trade in someone and then trade them back out again. It just uses a couple of extra trades. So I'm thinking I might hit round 17 a little bit harder. And round 13, I might just stick with maybe 10 to 12. Yeah. What about you?
At the moment, if we're not counting Cotter, I've got 13, which I'm probably cool with. I don't need to bring in Manu or anything like that. Like, the only ones I'm missing are Manu and maybe Hamwell. Like, they're the only ones, like, of the big names that I'm missing. I've got Garrick, I've got May, I've got Tupou, like Sawali, like all those guys. I mean, Vale's there, cool. But apart from that, like, I'm pretty set for 13, and then looking at targeting at 17. So if I'm going to make trades moving forward, it'd be for the guys like McInnes, or even like a Moses, for example, if I want to bring him in eventually, like just trying to strengthen up for the run home. But yeah, pretty happy. Speaking of Moses, a lot of love in the chat for him. I'm not sure if I'm seeing it. I know that you're on the opposite side though. So I guess give us your reasoning as to why you think he is worth it.
Well, firstly, I just think that the Eels draw now is quite good. Looking at it, just moving ahead, you've got Manly, then the Raiders. They also don't cover round 13. The thing with Moses, though, is that there's no real great halfback, I feel, in the round 13. So I don't see any halfback who's going to cover round 13 who's a better option. Around that origin period, it might be Jerome Hughes. But again, we've talked maybe a slightly weakened Storm team, whereas the Eels, they probably won't lose that many players to origin. Then after the bye, they've got the Bulldogs, the Roosters, Rabbitohs, and then the Tigers around 17. So I feel like they've got quite a decent stretch of games. And we know Moses so far this year has beaten up on the poor teams. And he's got the upside. So I like that in a pod factor, especially at halfback where a lot of people might be running Cleary Hines or maybe like a Taff still. Getting someone like a Moses could be a nice pod. So I don't mind going there. 568K. It's not a bad price, I think, to be buying him, especially knowing that he was like close to 800K just not so long ago.
Yeah, so on Parramatta, like if you owned Penasini, would you just be holding Penasini all the way up and through 17, or is he someone that you'd probably have to cash out on with the money that he's made?
I feel like with Penasini, he's a pretty solid hold. He'll average you like 50. He won't do you any harm, so he's good depth cover. And the only reason I'd be selling him, I think, in my opinion, is if you're looking to go up to your premiums like a Manu, a Garrick, a To'o. Those are kind of the echelon of centers I think that I'd be trading Penasini for. Otherwise, I feel like I would maybe just consider holding him, unless obviously he's your best candidate to downgrade elsewhere. But he's a pretty solid hold, I think, with that good draw.
Nicholas says, can I give a shout out to his cousin Henny, who was a big follower of my tips. So shout out to Henny. Thanks for following me or listening to me talk a lot of shit. Bit of love in the chat for TPJ. Thoughts on TPJ? I wanted to bring in Clemmer, but I only brought in TPJ last week. I think this conspiracy about TPJ having the flu is getting stronger and stronger with like the news that Addo Carr's out with the flu and like Matt Burton and Luke Thompson racing the clock. I know that TPJ isn't the most athletic footy player and he doesn't have the biggest motor, but TPJ shouldn't be struggling after 15 minutes or whatever it was last week. So if you're an owner, I wouldn't be stressing too much about the fitness. I'd be more worried about Raymond Faitala-Mariner on the bench.
Yeah, look, I'm not a TPJ owner. I've kind of said it a couple of times. I think if you're looking to get him, I'd maybe just try to wait until round 13. The break-even's at 79, and he's only cracked 80 twice. So I feel like the chances are he'll go maybe just a little bit down in price. So I feel like you're not going to get punished by him, although famous last words, because he is
15 offloads incoming.
And he could offload a lot. Yeah. But yeah, even like it was a bit concerning last week. And the eye test wise, he doesn't seem to be just as impactful SuperCoach wise as what he has been in the past couple of seasons. So I'm tempted to just wait until round 13 and then I can just reassess at that point if I want to go for him. But yeah, not overly thrilled by a TPJ purchase.
No, I bought him last week and now I'm contemplating whether he is a season keeper or if I just sort of flick him on after 14. I guess that the time will come. What are we doing? I guess Turbo, another factor. Like if you brought Turbo in last week, it's Turbo. I feel like you've just got to hold.
Yeah, I've been a bit 50-50 on this one. I feel like if you bought him last week, you did it for a reason. You thought that despite the origin, the tougher draw, you saw something that made you want to get Turbo. And I think he looked quite good, not last week, but the week prior. So if it is just a simple cork issue and hopefully he's back to full health, Parramatta do concede points to fullback. So my opinion was generally, if you're low on trades, I'd maybe just consider holding. If you've got quite a few trades up your sleeve, then maybe you could flip him to like a Moses to then flip back to a Turbo just to avoid the kind of sketchy run coming up. That was my general thoughts on Turbo. So it was really 50-50 and I think really team dependent as well.
Yeah, speaking of Urbos, very glad that we missed Ben out for 4 weeks. So that's got to hurt for people that bought him in last week. I mean, he only made, 60K? And, 4 weeks you can probably just hold him. He's got a handy jewel. You can move around, so not too worried. A couple of things in the chat. Adam Elliott, by all systems go, is starting. He'll come in and Chanel Harris better. Corey Hadawira-Naira will be dropping to the bench, and Xavier Savage is the one that makes way for that. I don't know if this is down to Brew, but there seems to be a lot of Milne love in the chat. Are we a fan? Look, he's on the right wing. Cody's looking to float both sides. Taft looks a lot better on the right than he does the left. Is there a world where we can get behind Milne?
Yep, I don't mind it. They do, on the eye, they do seem to be going more to their right side than they did say last year. So it's definitely going to benefit Milne. They seem like they're just signed to get that sweep play that they were so good at last year, a little bit more into rhythm. And they still have the good draw coming up as well. He's got a negative break even. So it feels like a low risk move. His base is not ideal. His average is around maybe mid-20s. So you might just get some low scores, but you're not going to be buying him for his work rate. You're buying him for the tries. So I think it's not a bad purchase. 470k, so sub 500k could just be a nice little ride up to like 600, 650. You can flick them on later at that point. So if not, if anything else, at least you make some money off the trade. And so, yeah, don't mind it.
Any love for Milford? That comes from Brenton.
Are you sure that's not Wilfred's alias?
Wilfred's burner account? No, I mean, it's good to see him back playing, but I still think, he's 500k, I think?
Oh, I would not be able to.
I haven't
tell
looked,
you.
but I think from memory he's 500k. But like, even if he was
486,
how much?
486k.
Even if he was 286, I don't know if I could go there.
Nah, not keen.
Not keen. Okay, what have we got? What have we got? A lot of love for. Okay, well, I guess let's address the Clutter situation. Do we see him as a season keeper? Is he worth the trade in, knowing that he's most likely going to be playing Origin?
I think so. I think the work rate, like he passes the eye test. I think the work rate, it's all dependent on minutes. So that's always a thing. Peyton, we saw it last week at Tamalola, can just pull the rug out from under you and just start playing you like 40 minutes. But he looks like the Cowboys are performing better when he's playing bigger minutes. Cotter, that is. And I feel like his work rate, he's averaging like purely in base power, like mid 60s. To me, that's keeper numbers without any other attacking stats. So yeah, for me, I think he is probably a season keeper. He's got that handy duel as well. And look, if he does play Origin, he's perfect for round 13. So I still think he's good for a trade-in.
Lomax to Clemmer or Matto. So yeah, a lot of love for Clemmer, and he's been putting out like really, really good scores. The thing that worries me with Clemmer is Frizzell's back, Barnett is now back in the rotation, the Saifidis are back to full health. I mean, Kerman's out, so that does take a little bit of minutes from the middle, but I don't know, like Barnett's going to be playing through that 13 role, so maybe that fills in the man slot, but are we getting sucked in, or is there genuine value here in Clemmer, like as a cheaper Payne Haas?
I think I was kind of positive on him, but I did say that I think there is this risk now. You just mentioned it with Fitzgibbon, Barnett, Frizzell back, just not quite sure with the minutes, and he's close to 600k now. So you are buying him. He's not really a value proposition. You'd be buying him for points, and when he doesn't play round 13, doesn't quite have the upside. I feel like maybe you can dodge him and he won't hurt you. He's also low owned, so. Like that particular person was asking Matto or Clemmer, I'd definitely be going Madison. Although just on his point about selling Lomax, look, I'm a Lomax owner. It's been really disappointing, but he is versing the Warriors and then the Bulldogs the next two. I would personally hold and then reassess after the fortnight.
Hey, speaking of Lomax, Ravalawa is like 280k, and he's starting to get enticing because he can just go on those like monster runs, and if Lomax could pull his finger and give him some ball, that'd be great. I guess we've touched on. What's his name? Clemmer. What about his teammate in Mitch Barnett playing the man role? Looks like he had a great score last week. Is there value, or do you just wait for the -10 to come out of his break even and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, I think it was a -3. I think the reason I wouldn't be so keen on him is that last year we all got him kind of early this season when he was playing on the edge.
And
I think we saw last year when he was playing at a lock, he was kind of having his minutes not quite being managed. He was playing like 50-ish minutes. So I feel like the minutes at lock are not as good as him playing on the edge. So I would be waiting and seeing kind of rotation again. You've got kind of almost a full strength forward pack now for the Knights in. I'd want to see the minutes, and he's not. Hopefully, he wouldn't hurt you as well. So yeah, I would still again.
The break even isn't screaming out to be bought. Like he still has that sin bin or the send off game in his rolling average. So I think he's definitely one I'm looking at. But probably we can just wait a week or two on him and go from there.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Wishart, I don't really love it. Like, I'd rather just go Wolford if I'm taking a punt on a cheap hooker.
Yeah, at least Wolford potentially can cover round 13 for you. The thing with Wishart is like he didn't have a great performance last week, so who knows? They could just do a game day switch, me need a fullback, and they do something else that I can't remember. I think they've got Eremire on their bench. They might just put Eremire on the wing, Meany at fullback. someone from the reserves comes in. Like, we just don't know. So, yeah, I'm not too keen on a Wishart trade in.
Let's just put a blanket over this one because there's been plenty of questions. Is Sawali a play if you have the choice? So, like, obviously not saying if you're forced to play him in centre wing, but if you're, like, looking at a reserve option with Sawali, is he a play? Like, I've seen Sawali versus Randall. I'd take Sawali there because he's got, like, a safe 30 with the upside. But, like, for example, like a Sawali or a Tupalotu or a Sawali and an Elliott, like, where are you sitting on there?
Yeah, I'm not playing Sawali this week. I do think he's a good play this week, even if you had the choice, because the Roosters have been looking better, and I think their right side is looking better, and he will be coming up against rookies in Targo and Taylor May, so it's not like they're versing, out and out defensive
Elite
guns,
defenses,
although they're pretty good defensively. Yeah, like I think as you mentioned, I'd play him over the likes of a Randall, like a Max King. I'd probably play him over. But if you've got like a Taff, I'd probably prefer Taff this week because of the matchup. And I would be playing the likes of a Targo over Sawali as well. You just assume he's playing for the slightly better team.
Plenty of. I didn't think I should. I've skipped a couple of Brandon Smith questions because I thought they were pretty self-explanatory. But a lot of people are getting behind him. No, like he's just going back to the bench when Nass is back. It's pretty clear that he's not playing big minutes, and the impact that it's the exact reasons as to why I was fading him all preseason. Like, him not playing 9 is just nowhere near as effective, and yeah, he gets to start this week, awesome, but I'm not looking at picking him up for Classic, not at all.
Not at this point. I feel like it could be a good buy potentially after the first bye week, because then you'll have maybe the likes of Grant getting a rest, so maybe Smith will play at hooker, decent draw around that time as well, and then he'll cover around 17 when Grant's obviously at Origin, so I feel like he's got more value at that point. Right now, though, break even is around 59, so it's still not going to hurt you, but it's a tempting price, but yeah, I think I'd maybe look at a post around 13 purchase maybe for him.
Back-to-back questions, Tom Starling. Is he a sell? Do we move him on? I'm probably just going to hold to round 13. I mean, he's going to get, 45 points. He'll lose a little bit of cash from his peak, but I don't think he's going to lose enough for him to be like... He's not like a coach with like a minus 160 break even that he needs to be sold. And he's still very creative. Like, he can still jag the attacking stat and keep it in his average. I'm just looking at him like I'd look at Randall. And if Randall was playing round 13, I would just hold Randall until the bye. I think Starling's kind of the same, just the way I'm looking at it.
No, I agree. And then look, after the first bye week, you can flip him to like maybe a McInnes who cover rounds 14. Yeah. And that's that. But yeah, I think I'd just be holding him. It could be valuable, like 50 points in round 13.
Who do we have to win tonight, and by what margin? I think the Knights are specials.
I would have thought the Broncos all day, but then because of the Adam Reynolds out, I'm thinking with Gagai back as well, that does really help the Knights. And so I feel like they're a chance. They're playing at home. They've got their forward pack back. So I'd just say the Knights in a close one, like maybe 6 points, I reckon.
Okay, we have to do a job of convincing Steve G that Turbo to Ipap is a bad play. I can't, because I think Ipap's a must-have, and if that's the way to get him, then sick. I mean, I'd only be selling, and that's the thing, like, same thing with Talakai. Like, people were saying, oh, like, I want to sell Talakai, but the question is to who? Like, there's no one really that screams out to be buying, but Ipap, I think, is like a genuine must-have, and I know that you were watching... like through like peeking your fingers last week, you were messaging me every time he scored. It was annoying, but like he's back to what he was last year, and I think you've got to move heaven and earth to get him, and he's the only one that I would move heaven and earth for.
Yeah, no, so like you're right. I was watching through closed eyes. That's because I didn't captain him. At least I owned him last week. I got him in last week, and I see him as, we say this week there's no genuine kind of obvious trade-ins, but I think he's one of those guys. Like, at a position, no one is going to match him, and he's in full health. He'll cover the Origin period very well. That Turbo won't. I think I even said in my own video this week, there's probably only Ipap I would sell Turbo for with confidence.
Yeah. Does someone just raised a good point? Is Selwyn Cobbo a play now this week with Adam Reynolds out?
I think I would still play him just because of the Knights.
Let me rephrase that. Would you go Cobbo or Sawali? Sawali.
He's got better base, I think.
And probably the same attacking chances against like a weak rookie pairing. Like, I just think with no A-Ray, it does kill Cobbo, but I think that brings Katoni back into the action a little bit. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see Katoni have like a pretty good score this weekend. Is Elliott a play this week?
Goal kicking as well, wouldn't he?
He would be goal kicking as well. Is Elliott a play this week if he's starting? I would say so, yeah. Like, he's a safe 50, 55.
Yeah, I'd say so. I can't even remember who the Raiders are versing this
They
week, but yeah,
play
probably is safe.
they play the someone. Yeah, good
Rabbitohs.
Rabbitohs. That's what I was gonna say. They play a good team. I know that.
Yeah, probably say 50.
Can we give our thoughts on Turbo to Manu and Burbo to Butcher? Both play around 13. I don't like those trades. I mean, Butcher's cheap enough that you can get in another way without having to sell. Like, surely you've got like Randall or Tuolagi or like some other shit plotter that you can move on. Like, even a Vayela. I know you're moving out of 13, but Vayela's just dead wood. And I don't like trading out Turbo for Manu personally.
I feel like I'd maybe do that in round 13 potentially.
Yeah.
When you know Turbo's way, I feel like the matchup this week is good for Turbo against the Eels.
Satilli to Nat Butcher. If I do that, I have 661k in the bank. Jesus.
Jeez.
Feels a tad sideways to me.
A little bit, but he's got so much money. You could do something work with that. I don't know. It does feel a bit sideways. Surely, if you've got that much money in the bank, you could upgrade like a Deadwood player.
You could literally go Vale to Ipap.
Yeah, surely there's
what an upgrade.
No need to have that much money in the bank unless you're buying like an Ipap.
A lot of love for Dejan Arce in the chat. Oh, I'm not keen. I mean, like they brought in Ronald Volkman. There's Shanil Harris-Tavita to come back on the scene. Like, and the Warriors look terrible. Like, I haven't even looked at his scores, to be honest. Like, I just don't love it at all, really.
So scores so far have been 50, 35, and 84. So not too bad. His lowest score is a 35. But yeah, it's I don't.
He is available at centre wing, which I guess is handy. Like, he does have the nice centre wing eligibility, but I just feel like he could be dropped at a minute. Like, they aren't dropping SJ, and if it's not working, like, I just feel like Arcee's the one that moves out, and he maybe plays like that 14 role that what Cody Nikorima was playing.
Yeah. I don't love that. Look, maybe it's me being blindsided by the Warriors not being fantastic. They do have a good draw and they do cover round 13. He's got a negative break even. Look, if you're doing it, I'd say view it as a short-term play, like 3 weeks, and then be prepared to flip him. That's how I'd see it.
Yeah. We'll go for another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll just go rapid fire. We'll finish up a little bit earlier tonight. Randall to Butcher or wait a week? No, I'd be jumping on that now. I mean, Butcher's got a 22 break even. Like, you can wait, but it's not like a minus 10 break even, but like 22, if he still pumps out 30, it's still going to be decent cash generation. Randall is done. He's cooked, I would say. So I don't hate that move. I'm assuming it's via Clutter with that duel. Oh no, Aman's gone quiet. Oh no, he's back. Nope. My man, your internet is shocking. We'll come back to you. How long are we holding Hastings for? I would hold Hastings until the end of the buy, like the second buy. Thoughts on buying Grant? Oh, God. You're buying him at a very, very awkward time. Aman? Goodness me, your internet is trash. Even SJ's only at 311k. Yeah, I mean, out of the Warriors halves, I'd rather just take a punt on SJ, like between him and Arce. Brody Jones or Tuolagi to Nat Butcher, I would be going probably Tuolagi out just because Jones isn't playing and he won't be like losing any of that cash, whereas like Tuolagi can still not hit his break even. Trade Milne to Stag. Okay, you're back. Hello, my friend. What happened?
I have no idea. Something must have dropped down my internet, so I've switched to my mobile hotspot on my laptop, so hopefully that held up.
All good. Someone asked me, are we still holding Billy Smith? Did we hold him for 13? I think Billy Smith, he's just dead.
He's playing reserves.
Oh, so he's back. He is back. But like, who drops out? Like Momorovsky? Because I don't feel you're dropping Sawali.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be holding Billy Smith much longer. I feel like maybe he gets a run in round 13, but yeah, I'd sell.
I would be selling too. So on that point, like you dropped out a little bit, but with the RC situation, Sean Johnson's 310k. If I was taking a punt at a Warriors half, I'd take a punt on SJ.
You may as well. Yeah, he's got the better job security. Yeah, why not?
And who knows? Walsh might go into Origin camp, and SJ then gets the goal kicking back with the Warriors scoring 1 try a game.
It feels a bit. I mean, I'm looking at his scores though. Apart from that 56 last week, his 4 scores before that were 29, 24, 21, and 15.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, I don't like. I prefer Rasi actually looking at. At least he's got a negative break even.
Help. Need Ipap, but have to sell Haas. He scores more, both know around 13. Ipap has... Basically, Ipap won't be backing up after Origin. But he has to buy another sub 250k. Oh, that's fine. Are you happy to sell Haas for Ipap?
I actually think Desi Creek is doing the same move, and I thought about it. Like Haas probably will get his minutes managed a little bit. Origin coming up,
And he's still
I
got the
don't hate
shoulder.
that, actually. Yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah, but that means he has to buy a Cheapy, and the Cheapy... Like, I think the standout Cheapy is Peoples. Like, if we have to rank...
Yeah,
if we
probably.
have to rank the Cheapies, I'd rank Peoples at 1, Carraz at 2, Wolford at 3.
I'd say that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Is Kikau worth bringing in? A lot of discussion on all the pods about Kikau. He's definitely rocks or diamonds, but he's had way more diamonds than rocks this year. And I was actually looking at bringing him in over Maddo, but the fact is I've already got 13 for round 13. I don't particularly need more buy numbers. So, I mean, I don't hate Kikau actually. I never thought I'd be saying that.
Yeah, no, look, yeah, 7 of his 10 scores have been over 66 this year. So yeah, as you say, more diamonds than rocks. So I do like it. It seems like they're using him more in attack as well. So yeah, I don't mind getting a kick out this week. I've changed my tune slightly on him. I said he was a bit of a roller coaster.
And the minutes though,
seems like the roller coaster is going up more often than down.
Go look at the minutes. He's played like over 65 basically every week, which is like unheard of for Kikau. We'll do a couple more and then
minutes are up. So yeah,
we'll do a couple more and we'll finish up. Moses or Maddo, lads? I'd be trading Billy Smith or Brodie Jones to do it. Maddo for me every day of the week.
Depends on which position you want to
strength.
Like, Moses has the upside.
I'm
Maddo's
sure everyone's got
one.
Cleary by now. Like you have to have Cleary by now. Like so, I guess you've got one gun at your half already.
Yeah, they're both pods. Maddo's more of a pod and he's more consistent.
Should we get Hughes, Cotter, DCE, or Manu? I've got the choice. So it depends on what you need. If you need a round 13 number, then I'd be going Manu, obviously. But DCE, apart from last week, like he's just been exceptionally solid. Like I think you and I have touched on him plenty of times. Like he's had one score on 60 all year, I'd want to say.
Yeah, he's had very, very consistent. Just hasn't really had the upside. So I like Manu actually out of those just for that round 13 factor. And I do think he will be a season keeper. So yeah, I know the draw's tough, but yeah, I don't mind Manu. I'm kind of high on Manu.
Non-SuperCoach related, but who do we go for in the NRL? I go for the Tigers, and Aman goes for the Roosters. Two very opposite ends of the spectrum right there. Who should we bring in for Satili? Money's not a problem. I have Ipap, Haas, Talakai, and Kikau. So I guess who's the next best premium 2RF? And I'd say it's probably Maddo?
Madison.
Yeah.
Yeah, Madison or Kikau. We just talked about them. Madison or Kikau. Probably slightly favour Madison.
Will Jamin Salmon get some more minutes over Origin? Kept him for some effing reason, lol. Yeah, I'd assume he plays 5/8 with Sean O'Sullivan playing halfback over the Origin period, but like, yeah, why did we buy him in the first place?
He said it himself. For some effing reason he has him. So yeah, I don't know what you do with him.
That's almost as bad as buying Jermaine Steele-Brown. Do we bring Rasi in? We've touched on this. No, we're both not keen on Rasi. Manu or Clemmer will hold the whole way for the rest of the year. So who do you see as a better keeper, Clemmer or Manu?
Manu.
Yeah, same.
Upside.
Cotter, McInnes, Robson or Butcher. A bit of Robson love on the socials. I'm not particularly seeing it, but each their own. He's 550k, which is not cheap, and his scores are not fantastic. I would be probably out of those McInnes or Butcher. I feel like Butcher's like a poor man's McInnes. I feel like you can get maybe 5 points difference for like 150k cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, you could even just say Cotter. Like we're just saying we both think he's probably a season keeper. Might play Origin, but he's doing very well, and you can still get him at a cheap price. Otherwise, McInnes is a bit of a pod similar to Cotter, so I think one of them too. Yeah.
Shout out to the poor soul who asks, if you don't have Grant by now, when do you buy him?
Jeez.
I just
want
to say...
get to him fairly easily.
I want to say 19 or 18.
Oh, can you wait that long, though, for Grant? I guess he will get his rest during Origin.
Minutes,
it is a
minutes
tough one.
That's the issue.
Yeah, that is a problem, yeah. But when you say 19, that's like 8 rounds without him. That sounds so much. He could score so many points in that time.
Will Elliott get dual next week? I think I didn't read the article. He's going to get dual, isn't he?
So yeah, I think he is in line to get it, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so he's a good chance. I don't think it's been like a lock, but I think he's a good chance of getting the second row forward hooker status. Yeah.
Okay. Last, we'll do two more. Do I purge Jermaine Snell-Brown or Andrew Fafita? Jermaine Snell-Brown is my disappointment cheapy of the year. I'd probably purge Fafita just because he's more likely to get like the bench spot. Like both of them aren't really playing. I know Jermaine Snell-Brown that like it hasn't been playing, so I'd probably purge Fafita there. Like he's more the AE nightmare risk.
Yeah, potentially. Although I'm just looking at the prices.
They're both
cheaper
nothing
as well.
Yeah, but surely money's an issue. Surely money's not an issue for people now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Fafita would kill your VC loops. So yeah, I think probably for that reason, yeah, maybe it's Fafita. But honestly, flip a coin. Either is purgeable.
We will do one. Okay, there's people are saying Elliott's not getting it. Okay, so whatever.
Okay.
One more question. I'm trying to find a good one before we finish up. Someone said if you don't have Munster, Grant, Hines, Cleary, Ipap, then just delete app at this point. Fair, but harsh, but fair.
Bit harsh. Yeah.
we both have. I think we both have all of them, which is nice. I've got Hines captain. Thoughts on putting the VC on Moses over Cleary? Oh. Who did Parramatta have?
Manly.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for us. A very short one, say 40 minutes. So I'm going to eat some dinner before the footy starts, and you've got some things to do. So appreciate you coming on, my man. Thank you guys for tuning into the podcast or to the Q&A. We'll be back next week. Do it all again. I'll be back Sunday for the roundup recap. So thanks.
Cool. Yep. Thanks for having me. Apologies for the internet issues.
All good. Not a worry, guys. Have a good one. Cheers. Bye.
See ya.
All right. Bye.